Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right. Good afternoon, traders. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the middle of the week. Welcome to the Tradespoon live trading room. Stocks and options closing bell. My name is Scott Beck. I am the head trading coach here at Tradespoon. I'm also your friend and trading partner in this group of ours. Wonderful Wednesday to you, Dennis. Where's everybody? Where's everybody? We have a bullish market. Fed report came. Market seems favorable. Right? Jer Bear gets a D? What? I don't know, man. I feel like the Fed, they I think you can't argue that they were really late raising rates to get inflation under control sooner. That argument valid. But since then, they hit us with those couple of 0.75s in a row. But I think that they've really, everyone's like, there's no way soft landing. They're doing a pretty good job of it right now, interestingly. So, it's a fugazi. It's a fugazi. Nah, I'm here for it. I think it's too much. We got strong employment. We've got corporate strength. We've got, I mean, they're expecting the 2024 final GDP to hit 2.9 from 2.7, I believe is what it was. 2.9. Things are good if we get the inflation. And even now the inflation's not untenable. It's just not back in the twos. We want it back in the twos, right? Well, debt's always an issue, of course. I'll tell you what, I could solve American politics. I would take a blend of Warren Buffett logic, right? You're only up for re-election when there is a balanced budget. That's it. If it's an election year and the budget's not balanced, bring in the newcomers. Out with the old, baby. You're done. Right? That's gonna get you. That's gonna get you some momentum. First of all, right? Number two, absolutely no lobbying whatsoever. That's it. No lobbying at all. Right? You create some state fundraising pools, some national fundraising pools, individual contributions at a certain limit. No lobbying. Period. No special interest money. Right? And term limits. You have a certain period of time to get your shit done. And then you're out. Anything other than that, it's going to be the same old song and dance forever. That's what I think. So that's my politics for the day. Let's get into it. Trading for a while, teaching for a while. Here's the disclosures. Let's go look at some things with what we have now. Is everybody here? Bob is here. Dennis is here. John is here. Everybody's here. I hope you have your coffee. Anyways, all right. Here we go. Market's bullish. You can see. Let's go take a look at the tug of war. So the initial reaction, there it is, right at noon, bang, and then like always, it overextends. It pulls back. It tried. Woo! Look at that. That was a good one right there. Came down, tweezer hold. Pops up. Now we're running into the last hour up 0.8%. Here's the deal. I would say you should have had. I would expect you're carrying some bullish trades right now. Yes or no? Let me know. I would expect. Now, would you have put a bunch on today? No, but look, we got the bounce. It came a little lower, but it still bounced. We're still well above the 50. I'm still bullish. If you're curious, if you're a market posture scoring kind of a person, if you ever wonder why I do this, it's because, for example, if I went back and I'm like, hey, I did well in December. Let's go see what happened. What was right? It's not enough to go look at what the market did in December. I need to look at what the market did and what I thought it was going to do. Where I say, oh, that was a bullish market and I was bullish. And that leads to good profits. That's great, right? Versus if there's a time where I don't do well, then I go look at the market and I'm like, oh, this market was down. And then I look at how I read it and I'm like, I was bullish and the market was going down. That's a problem with me. I did that. That's my fault. So I need to say, ooh, what was wrong with my market posture? What did I miss? What was I doing? So that I can make sure going forward. And I've had those times, believe me. The way that I posture has been influenced by a lot of those trial and error learnings where I'm like, I thought it was bullish. Market dropped. What did I miss? And then I'm like, oh, look at that. I could have seen that the money was already moving out from a cyclical fashion in the sectors. So sectors became more relevant to me. And so that's what led to this process and wanting to keep it. If you don't keep track of what you thought the market was, it's hard for you to go back in time and be like, you can see what it did, but that's not what you thought it was going to do because there's a big piece of the puzzle there. Anyway, what am I? I'm bullish. It's pulled back for sure. It pulled back. Although this week I'm already seeing it's probably going to pop back up to 6.25, which this is what I'll tell you. Anything above 6, I'm bullish, period. I have been nothing but bullish since late January. And even then, really since middle to early November, middle November. Middle of November, this thing's just been bullish. And then you look back at the market from the middle of November. That's right here. Market's up. I'm bullish. So every time we get these pullbacks, I don't think, oh, is this the start of a pullback? I think I'm bullish. So be bullish. What do you do when you're bullish? You buy the dips, right? You buy the dips. Always you buy the. Now, if I drop from a 6 to a 5.25 to a 4.5, well, yeah, then something's going on. That's a little different. And have I still hedged? Yes. And have hedges been tough this year? Yes. If you've hedged, it's been tough. It's been a bit choppy. It's been tough, meaning nothing has really surged. But at the same time, if you take losses on your hedges, they should be pretty minimal losses. So it's been kind of a net zero hedging, just sort of washing out, right? I'm just washing out a little bit. Take a little profit, then take a loss, then a little profit. And at the end, it's like no harm, no foul. John said, break even on hedges. There you go. Yeah, right. Is Micron earnings tonight? Oh, gosh. I can't answer that question until I do this. Yes. Yes, tonight. Could have an impact. It could definitely have an impact, but maybe not too much. I don't know. That's an interesting one. Okay, so back to the task at hand. We're bullish. It's popping. We're up 0.8%. What did we see on the VIX? Well, interestingly, the VIX gave a shut down the hedge signal, which is a little bit of a whipsaw type action, right? But I told you I put a hedge on. Here, high or low. Bing, bing, one like this. But then what? It was a lower high. So that's it. Hedge off. Little bit of a loss. Not much. Because I was able to get it off pretty early yesterday and call it a day. But anyways, does not show up on your E-Trade calendar. Oh, okay. Interesting. But this is good because what's happening right now is not only did we get a lower high, which will help my posture, but we're actually now taking out this low. So we're also no longer setting up if for another one of these, right? If it goes up like this, pulls back, and then goes like this, that's another lower high. That's escalation. That's problematic, but that's not what we had happen, right? That's not what happened. We got the lower high here, and now we're taking out the low. And this is in sight. We touched it. Going to 12, Bob. I agree. That's what I say. Get this bullish run, maybe 12 and a half, pop back up, bam. That's April. And why do we think this? Just to give a quick little preview of other implemental or incremental factors is what do we tend to see in March? A little bit of a pop and then a little pullback and then smashing. And we get, remember, even here, we tend to get two windows. We tend to get like late April to around right in here. There's a little consolidation, then another. This is a great time of year, and everything's looking pretty good. So I'm until something proves otherwise. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I've been looking for. It's been pretty accurate. Interestingly, the correlation's at 8%, but I feel like it's still been pretty accurate. I mean, this has moved higher than this, right? We've been a little more bullish than this, but overall, the cycle seems pretty similar. Anyway, that was my observation. Let me know your thoughts on that if you have any. Let's see what Stella thinks about everything real quickly. Cecil's not bullish enough. Yeah, right. It's not enough, Bob. You're probably right. Here's the SPY. Okay, so Stella's gone a little cold. Not negative, but cold. It's a little bit neutral here. When we look at QQQ, and I'll tell you why here in a second. I know why. Q's is looking a little more bearish because it's taken too long. Stella's impatient. I've realized that over the years. She gets impatient. And if it doesn't start moving, she's like, oh, well, then I guess the buyers aren't coming at all. It's like, whoa. Hey. You can see neutral here, and you can see, I'd be interested to have a conversation with Vlad and tell him, I'm like, I think sometimes Stella, he'll be like, who's Stella? Actually, I think he knows I call her Stella, but I think Stella gets impatient. Like here, she's impatient. She's like, oh, now I'm negative. What? Come on. The IWM has been so resilient. Look at what? Come on. Small caps look fantastic. Look at it bouncing off the 50. Small cap has been great. If you do I do a major market, which I'm looking at relative strength between the Dow, the NASDAQ, the Russell, the S&P. And the Dow is really flattened out, whereas the Russell's continuing to move into a leadership position. The market's appetite for risk is still leaning towards a cut in the summer, and they're okay with it. They're okay enough that they're moving back into small caps, and you can see it here. Might it change? We'll see. Bitcoin. Oh, Bitcoin was in a beautiful setup. If you were looking for it, I'm going to jump around. Where are you? There you are. Oh, I actually would say it's getting ready to go right here. Nice little consolidation. We got this doji pause. Stochastics is pinching, engulfing. We're right at this level where if you're just waiting for it to overcome that, maybe you wait for Heiken Ashi. Heiken Ashi is 2 days away. If you enter on price action where you're basically using, I would actually say that's kind of the point, right? So that could be tomorrow, Heiken Ashi the day after, but this is looking like a setup for sure. Okay, I was looking at this with someone else. Are there any good ETFs with options on Bitcoin? Like, and I mean good, like they're thousands of contracts, or is it just not exist? I thought there was a new one, but I didn't think BITO is the best. Bob says. Let's take a look at BITO. BITO. Bingo was his name. Oh, look at how high that vol is. That vol is off the charts high. What does the implied volatility look like in here? Volume and open interest in April. Okay. It's okay, meaning like the at the money does have 11,000 contracts 30 days out, but it's still 20 cents. It's still 230 by 250. So the market makers are definitely hitting you. It's less than 10%. So I would say only right at the money. So even though there's good liquidity, the spreads are not great. Not great. These market makers know there's only one game in town, basically, is what that means, right? So oftentimes we're saying there's competition, and there is competition, but only so much. There's maybe an unspoken agreement amongst them that it doesn't get tighter and tighter because there's nowhere else to go. Yeah, let's see. Enter mid-range, usually get it. Mid-range on entry, mid-range on exit as well. Let me know, because sometimes they'll get you in fine and then getting you out. They're like, well, what else are you going to do? You got to get out. Getting in selective. Okay. All right. What else? Oh, there was some good ones and some that are in. I'm pretty happy here. Let's get to a quiz before it gets too late. Did we look at everything? I don't think we did. Hold on. The model, a little impatient. Reese, this looks good. Here's today's heat map. AMD is struggling, but everybody else looks pretty good in that group. Cyclical, where there was some concern, coming back. Same here. Oh, I love Meta. AXP, strong, looking good. Financials are still good. Industrials, look at that. Those industrials and financials have been two of my favorites as technology and communication services have eased a little bit. So, okay, what else? We've gotten through this meeting. Let's go on to May. So May is basically like 8-1. 8-1 against. Nobody thinks May. And that's all right. The market's okay with that, right? They stand pat, cut projections. Okay, so I didn't realize, I don't know where I missed this. Two things. Number one, I need to understand the dot plot a little better. I think I don't think I paid enough attention to that. Number two, I never remember hearing them put 3. So my thought is, I wonder if they're thinking 3 cuts, but 1%, meaning one of them will be, I had in my mind 1% with 4, but I think maybe it's 3 cuts. One of them would be 0.5% potentially. But it sounds like they are still indicating 3. And we have, we don't really have much in the economic calendar to look at. We have, after this, we have 1, 2, 3. We have May. This one's going to come. Now you can see all of a sudden the odds are better than 2-1, 2.5-1 for June. So June is moving back into favor as the first. So maybe it's cut 1, rest 1, cut 1, rest 1, cut 1, with the ability to make that last one 0.5 point if needed right at the edge of the year. Who knows what their thought process is? They're definitely going to want to do something, then watch it. So I think there's plenty of flexibility left this year, and that's what the market's thinking too. That they're looking to, that they're definitely done rate, right? That they don't have to rush. Everyone's like, oh, it's just going to fall apart. They're like, no, it's not. Everything's standing fine, right? I mean, certainly there's some concerns, of course, but none of this imminent, like, oh, we're going to go into some bear market or I don't know, whatever it is. Okay. Let's get to the quiz now. So SPY is now up still about 0.8%. Pretty steady at this point since So you can see we rally, we pull back a little bit. All right. My thought is A has to have new highs, of course. So we'll put the A's up here. Bulls. How bullish are you? We're going to go right across this here. We'll actually call it 519. I'm going to go a little lower. 519. B is here. C is here. So C below 519, A above 520.30. 520.30. So even though this is just the last like 35 minutes, still a $1.20 range. Some volatility here still. So below 519, you're a C. Between 519 and 520 and 30 cents, you're a B. Above 520 and 30 cents, you're an A. John's an A. He's feeling the bullishness. It's like we're going to hold on. So I think we're going to test the A territory, settle back. I'm a B. I'm a B. Where's my answers at? Bring it on in. Bob is a B. B is for Bob. While you guys are answering, I assume you're thinking we got to get the. Do we need to change it to a shiny gold trophy? Are gold medals not enough anymore? Today is for a trophy. It's a shiny gold quiz show stock picker trophy. Will that get me more participation? I don't know. I only have a few answers right now. SPY. It's quiet out there today. Fair enough. Participation is elective. Dennis is a B. Let's see. Stella's an A. Look at this thing. Stella says it's cranking higher. Stella's an A. All right. MU after close, conference at 4:30. Anybody else want in while the getting's good? Get in. And we're closing the window. I feel like we're reaching like voter apathy. We're having quiz show apathy. Maybe we need to think of a new engagement mechanism. I'm gonna put it to Chat GPT, my life coach, and see. I feel like I changed the A. Bob's changing the A. Okay, I'll let you. I'll let you change the A if you want it. Here we go. Let's erase these drawings. Let's go see what's happening in the market today. If you're putting trades on, this looks beautiful, right? It's looking beautiful. So many trades today, I think. Apple. So Apple is finally like very close to where I said, it needs to get to be convinced that the buyers have done enough. You can see the buyers are drying up. I'm okay with that. Next thing I want to see is it come down and give me a higher low. That's it. That's all I need. I would say Apple is back on the menu. Back on the menu. AIG looks like it's kind of breaking out of this consolidation. If you're looking for a financial, there are other financials to consider. AMD struggling to hold. AXP was viable yesterday. Absolutely. Now it's moving up 2.5%. Let me know if you've taken any of these. These have been on the watch list for a while. Boeing, I still don't care. Right? Now, if Boeing makes a move from here and gets all the way back up to there and then pulls back, that's a maybe. I don't know. I feel like I just have a problem with Boeing now that I saw that funny expose, and I'm like, I don't know if I can trade it anymore. I feel like I'm going to be biased somehow in it. BLDR gave a signal yesterday. So if you were willing to put trades on the day before or 2 days before, we've had some signals coming right through here, bouncing off support. Now it's moving. If you're a little late, the Heiken says still today, all I would do is enter with a tighter stop, right? So I would maybe look at this with a stop, 196.5. That's 10 points though. That's 10 points. Can this thing move 20? Can we get up here to 222? Maybe. I don't know. I definitely would rather be in than catch this, but there are viable trades in continuation. Citi was viable 2 days ago. If you took this trade coming out of this little bounce here, you can see your stochastics turned. Caterpillar, Boeing has a lot of image repair to do. Yeah, right. Citi took Citi, Bob. Nice. Yep, that's a nice one. Okay. COF. I was a little iffy on it, but I said it's still holding the 50. That's viable, but it just started moving real fast. Could I give you the top 5? I don't know that there is a top 5, right? I mean, let's go through them. COP. Oil's actually pulling back right now, so I don't know about that. Costco actually was viable and was viable yesterday. I think this is viable now with a Heiken-Ashi. Put a stop underneath here and ready to go. Yeah, I like Costco. I always like Costco, and I think sometimes you can't really know. It's like, that's it. Popped, pulled back, and ready to go again. Absorbed the earnings. Earnings actually were better than expected. They just lowered guidance a little bit. CrowdStrike. I love it. CrowdStrike looks great. That's a viable entry right there. Absolutely. CSX, you could think about. That's a bouncing off the 50 and industrial. A lot of things are starting. Delta was going to have a little more consolidation. I didn't like it. What are you going to do? Costco bull call. Vol is low. I mean, you could put an out of the money on, buy cheap calls. Amen. Amen to that. The Dow, look at the Dow popping up. More interest in the Dow once again. And that's one thing to distinguish. I think that's important is that this interest in the Dow is not defensive interest. Sometimes when we see the Dow surge, it's at the expense of small caps and technology, but that's not what we're seeing here right now. As we watch the Dow showing strength, it's corollary strength, meaning it's actually not quite keeping pace with the NASDAQ and the Russell over time, and yet it's still bullish. The concern here is there's not enough money, right? There's not enough money for small caps and technology and blue chips to surge at these accelerated levels. It can't sustain. There's not enough money for that. Small caps can sustain a lot easier than large caps, just by nature, by default. So, yeah, IWM is doing great. It's up 2.5%. Absolutely, Bob. Exactly right. Ford looks good. Where was the opportunity? Back here. This was an opportunity, or this a little later, but you're too late. I'm sorry. People are like, am I too late? A lot of times I'm like, well, yeah, you're too late. This thing moved. This was it back here. You had opportunity, and now it's going. This is one that I got caught on this false start. Looked great right here. Boom, pulled back. It owed me, I feel. Fastenal. Yeah, this one was back a little while ago, and it's starting to accelerate. Bitcoin starting to look ready to go. GE has been bullish. I don't trade it, but I watch it. Gold still bullish, popping up again. I don't have silver on here. Silver doing the same thing. Bought my kids some. Oh, look at that. It's at highest prices yet. Highest prices yet. I bought silver for my kids, and I think I probably bought it like not in here. I'm glad about that, but probably somewhere in here at least, and then it came down. GDXJ, Gold Mine Juniors, GDXJ, GDXJ, Junior Gold Miners. Yeah, look at that. Big one there. Absolutely. Google. I don't know. I'm still waiting for Google. It's tough to buy it in this overextended state. Home Depot, son of a gun. There was a little hiccup in consumer discretionary. I was in, I got out. I did not get back in. Still owes me. Damn you, Home Depot. Damn you. IBM. IBM looks viable to me. Holding support. Starting to move. Hasn't accelerated yet, if you like it. Opportunity there. Intel. Nah, I'm a no on Intel. Everyone's like, oh, but they got $8 billion. I don't care. The market doesn't love it. Everything else is bullish, and this thing's barely holding on. I don't know. I think there's better in chips. IWM, fabulous. Look at you. JP Morgan, running like a freight train. Trains is you're going to have to catch it moving, right? It's not always going to give you a nice little slow, steady, like, oh, here we go. Come on, jump on, everybody. Let me give you a hand up. Unfortunately not. So freight train entries sometimes are just simply, you're like, was this it? Hard to say that one was. Next one, that's it. It's that or nothing right there, right? And you can see your stochastic got the turn. We broke out of that little flag area, and you would be 2 days in with a nice trade, hoping to catch 2 more before the end of the week, right? XBI, yep, I got it. I think I have XBI. Yeah, biotech. I got it, Bob. I got it. It's on my list. Meta. Today's the confirmation day. In fact, the confirmation is early, but that means entering on a Fed day. Someone asked me, are you willing to enter on a Fed day? I said, yeah, but probably not a lot. Maybe a couple extra trades, which I did. So viable. It's turning. If you're still considering it, what would I do? I would change my perspective to a Heikin-Ashi. That would allow me to set a tighter stop. And where's this low? 491. I mean, at 491, you're still talking 16 points, 17 points. So you need 35 to 50. So you need this thing at 537 all the way up here to 550. I think it could do it based on the way it's trending. I mean, look at it was at 279 in October. Now it's 500. So could it go to 550? Yeah, but that's a big move. It is. April's a big month. Historically, we know that. Microsoft looking good. We broke out to a new high. Little bit of now if you drew your flag this way, whoops. If you drew your flag tight, that's your first day out of it. But you can see your stochastics was still coming down. If you drew it a little looser, today's your day coming out of it, and your stochastics is giving some confirmation. And then you have the ability to consider the Heikin-Ashi, where you could have a stop loss somewhere around, 417, about 8 points. Can we get 16? That puts us up around 440. Oh, easily. Yeah, I think there's easily a 2-to-1 here. If you catch one of these, when it really makes its moves, I think a 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 could be here. So let's switch this back. Netflix. It's grinding now. I never really thought of Netflix as a grinder, but it sure is, isn't it? It's grinding. Grinding in a bullish way. If you're in it, you don't mind. It's hard. Netflix looks, or NVIDIA. I mean, that might be the most, the calmest entry yet. You can see this one came pretty violently. This one, boom, popped out pretty good. We were kind of sideways, and then it just sort of popped. That was a good one right back here for sure. But stochastics has turned. I would imagine we have a nice Heikin-Ashi as we have with a lot of these. That makes things, well, not quite, but I would still say I'd be comfortable not going all the way down here, but putting my stop like under these bodies. 873, 27 points. 27 points. Do I think 1,000 is in reach from here? Well, we got to 974. Hell yes. I mean, that's a 4-1, risking 24 to try to get 100 points to the upside. What is the problem? This is a $900 stock, very expensive. This is also a 50% volatility. So the options, I mean, you're dealing with a tight area. Oh, let me show you something I saw. Hasn't been on our watch list for a while, but did anyone see the news from the CMG Burrito Factory? Chipotle? They announced, it was here, and now it's not here. Oh, because it's not going to show up. Let me see. Hold on. Let me get my time axis. I have to go out 120 days. And now look out here. 50-1 split. 50-1. They're going to take this back down to a $60 stock. It was rallying like crazy at one point today, and I'm like, I don't know. Really? 7% on the news of a split? Like, certainly, it's likely to get some action at 60 that it wasn't getting at 3,000, right? It's going to get investors that it didn't. I think it's a great move, Bob, for the stock. Yeah. Anyways, I think I'm going to put it back on our list just because they made that announcement. Obviously, nothing right now. It's way overextended. But fascinating news. I haven't seen a split like that in a decade. Maybe longer. 50-1. Phenomenal. Let's go back to 20 days. Where were we? NVIDIA, strong. Pakar, overextended. If you're in this, you're starting. I mean, this is where we were flagging. This is the break. Nice 6-day move, and you're getting ready to get out. PLTR, anyone catch it? Should have caught it early this morning as it started to move. It's looking good. It's looking viable. I don't think it has the Heikin-Ashi yet. Yeah, not quite. But this is certainly a viable entry. One of our more favorites that we've traded through the years. Not through the years. Well, maybe a year. Qs look bullish. Looks like it's ready to bounce. SMCI still kind of eased back. SPY staying bullish, but it has tested the A territory and pulled back into the B territory. 519 is the range. Okay, we'll see. We didn't get any C's. TPR. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of things that, they held up and the buyers are starting to come back in. That's viable. TSM. If you're looking for now it hasn't broken this like mini consolidation, but you can see that it did fine. This is old resistance. It touched it once here. Pulled back, touching here, possibly ready for a bounce. The VIX, look at that VIX now. So at this point, the VIX is at this low. The low was 1308. We are at 13.10 now. We were at 1307. So we've touched this same low and actually flirted 1.01 below it. So yeah, the VIX is looking great. It's about to give us a bump back up in market sentiment showing less fear. Love it. My posture is working its way back to a 6.5, maybe back to 6.75. Real quick little bounce, especially if we break out this week and continue this bullishness. We've got some bullish trades on. I'm sure you're looking for the same thing. Let's see a couple extra days and see this thing run. Waste management's pausing a little bit. It still seems Walmart maybe getting ready to go again. Consumer cyclical. Actually, where are they putting it? So I believe it's in consumer. Consumer cyclical, non-discretionary. The last time I looked. Yeah, defensive. Okay. But there's a little momentum there. So XBI bouncing right off the 50, Bob, like you said. Materials. Oh God, you guys, I don't love this though. Why are materials getting so much momentum? It's not great when we're hoping for prices to come down. If we see them, although it could be a double whammy where, well, I don't know, maybe not. It's not super helpful for materials to be going up. Let's put it that way. Communication services breaking out, looking good, making new highs. XLE, I don't love energy, pushing at new highs. Financials looks good, pushing out again. Industrials breaking out again. Technology looking to move. Consumer staples looks good. I mean, everything's still bullish. There's nothing here that is concerning. I don't know. Do you guys see anything concerning? Let me know. XLV. Healthcare's really kind of gone deflated. It's stalled out, which is fine. I made one attempt at healthcare. It didn't go well. Didn't go well, but what are you going to do? XLY. Discretionary reemerging again. Looks good. There was some concern there. Let's see. Day traders cashing in. Oh, let's go see. Let's go see. Yeah, you can see a little bit of profit taking after it popping up into that A territory. Okay. Let's take a look at which one of these let's maybe take a look at this one here. So this is I didn't call it yet. We're going to go a little longer here. We're going to take a look at one of these trades. Even though the vols come down quite a bit, I would still say at 40%, but I might be more comfortable thinking that, this vol could continue to bleed off through here. Maybe doing like a bull call spread on something like this, like a 320 by 330. Well, something like that. So let's just take a look. We're just going to play with it for a minute. CrowdStrike. Just to kind of give ideas, some what ifs. I think April makes sense. Vertical spread. You can see these are 10-point wide. So it's not like we're, making a huge change. Good open interest. Spreads are pretty good. So now I can come in here and do like we said, something like a 320, 330 option. Let's. Okay. What would our thoughts be for a trade like this? Like I said, I would probably yeah, I'd say stop loss somewhere underneath here. Do we have a Heikin-Ashi on this? I'd say below the body here. The close was, so I'd say like 315. So we're taking about 12 points of risk. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to put 315. I'm going to put 365, just testing the old high as a first level. But that's getting me 30 to 12, 40 to 12. So looks pretty good. Yeah. Okay. Today is the 20th. So I have nullified theta. So as this trade moves, but I'll tell you what, this initial reward to risk ratio, I'm still a little bit thinking about, well, I could go a little further out of the money. Let's try that. Let's try 330 by 340. Okay, so you can see we now have a 3-to-1 right here, plus time decay. Also, yep. So I do have this. Now this is a little bit better. I'm theta negative here, but I get theta positive pretty quickly on this trade. Once I cross 335. So it won't take long before I get theta positive. So what does that mean? That means that if this trade takes 2 weeks to happen, I'm actually making 4,400 by the time it gets there. As of today, we're only making 37. So that gets me a nice little extra bump. So that puts me more like 3.5 to 1, right? Versus if I start fresh and I say, well, what if I just buy, even though it's expensive, I could go to an out of the money call. I mean, you got to go like 350s. You got to go a good ways out of the money. Now, if I were to only do one contract and I were to go out, let's say 1 week to be wrong, I'm risking 400. 2 weeks to be right. I'm really only making 4-to-1. I'm really only making 4-to-1 with buying the option, and I'm getting 3.5 selling it. What's the advantage of selling the option is that if it doesn't make it as far, selling the option is going to be better. So I do think that the credit spread maybe makes more sense. You can control your risk better as well. I could get 2 contracts and have my risk at 369. You'll notice that even with a cheap option, meaning I'm 30 days and I was 20 plus points out of the money, the 350, I was still paying 645. So it's not that cheap. You're still paying $645 for that option. I guarantee you there's going to be people out here at these, looking at something like this. They're way out. And you can see, your reward to risk is still you're at a 3-to-1. It's let's dial this back. Maybe it's a little, maybe it gets to 4-to-1 again, but again, I'd rather get 3.5 to 1 with the spread than 4-to-1 because I'm going to have a much better probability with time on my side. So I do think that the volatility is high enough that this is the trade that makes more sense. Risking 360 to make 900. Plus, we start to get positive time decay. So I would say, yeah, that's what would make sense. Thoughts, questions, concerns. So with a lot of things that are more expensive, you might find that it's very hard, even with cheap options, to find the options trade where you're buying an option that makes it work. Cannot get filled at 4. Let me know. Okay, let's go. Now you got it. Perfect. Let's get one more look here. And what's going on? Oh, the buyers are trying to come back in. They have to get it above 520.30 by the end of the session. And I think we're going to be calling it a little early. So I don't know. Ace, it looks like that shooting star showing up is going to have us call it early, awarding it to the Bs. There weren't many on there today, but B's, shiny trophy, A's, C's, and everyone else who didn't do it. Let's get that participation rate back up. I will be back on Friday morning for morning coffee, morning market talk. I'm expecting that we've had another little bit of bullish run between now and then. We'll see. It's good to see everybody. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, happy trading.